triple. I already told myself.
Number 2, Chicago 11, 2012 Stock Village draft audit. Come on. Get down, so get up here. Yeah, definitely, yes. So they can hear you. Really good on that.
Won't keep you long, just refer to items that answer any questions that you have. I want to go over this, so I think one thing we need to discuss first is, this is a draft of them, now ready to release. I talked to the mayor.
That microphone's not working.
Yeah, I think you should, because they're pretty much here. That'd be great. Thank you. Yes,
Is this better? Okay. This is the final draft of the audit. If there's no questions or any objection to it, our plan is to issue these this week and issue the controller's report to the controller. I did talk to Jim Waters at the office. He called me yesterday for an update on where things were at, and they've extended the date until April 15th to release them. But I had told him by next Tuesday, which is April 8th, that these would be released. I talked to the mayor, and there's no formal approval you have to do with this. If everyone's good with the draft, if you wanted to, you could formally accept it at your meeting, but we can still issue. We could issue this week and be done. So I think maybe that's probably the best way to do this. And just real quick with the audit. The financial statements are presented in the same form as they were for the October 2011 audit. There's an unmodified opinion. The opinion on the audit is not reformed. We don't get that in the draft. It will be the final one, but it is an unmodified opinion. With added paragraphs for the exclusion of management discussion and analysis, and also the police pension fund. The police pension fund only has a draft of their audit for April 30th of 2011, and we got the draft numbers into final financial statements. So there is stuff in the opinion that states that the police pension fund is not presented in here. I think we talked when I was here in October. Like I said, these are all the same thing. There's the government-wide statements that show, the capital assets and show the debt of the district. There's some fund financial statements in here. Because this information is older, it's really not. It's real quick to go back and say, okay, here's where your financial stands because this was from October 12th. And it's more important to look at your internal financial statements right now to see where you stand. I guess another, important part if you want to, read and see what's going on is in the notes to financial statements, which starts on page 18. Talks a lot about the village's summary significant economy policies. There's a lot of detailed information of the capital assets, the debt. This explains all the details in the financial statements. So if you're looking for more detail or looking for something to read, if you want to fall asleep, that's a good place to go. After all the notes to financial statements, there's a lot of detailed information on the budgets and actual on the major funds and the non-major funds in the district. So if you're looking for actual fund information, you can go to the detailed information in the back. So, anyone have any questions? I think every page wants any more detailed information. My name is P.L.A.N. And the senior manager.
I just wanted to know what page, because I just got this, what page is this summary as far as that, as of this time, as of, I think this is 2012, correct?
Correct.
What was the financial status at that time is what I was trying to find.
Okay. On page 4. Is your statement of net assets.
Okay.
These statements are set more of like a regular corporate type of business because it's showing all of your financial assets too and the debt. Where if you're looking at your fund financial statements, let's start like on page 7. That's strictly the fund information that you're used to seeing that you get as a board, where the capital assets and depreciation and that's showing. So that this is where at that time that you're standing. The governmental activities are all your governmental funds, and then you have your business type activities, which are your waterworks and your sewerage funds.
Okay. And this is for 2012, correct?
October 31st, 2012, yes. We are currently working on, because you changed your year end now to April 30th. We've been here for a couple weeks. I was out here today too. We're working on the April 30th, 2013 audit right now. And I'd say we're in a pretty good way. So I talked to the mayor today, providing a list of stuff that we still need, but it's getting very minimal. And I'm really pushing to get it done, by the end of the month or a couple of weeks into that. So not promising, but that's my goal.
Okay. You did state that you did, and I did talk to the mayor about this, about the controller, that you did inform the controller, because I know they sent us a
Yes,
letter.
I talked to him and Jim Waters yesterday. I can't remember what his title is, but he actually called our office yesterday to get an update. Because he had to update his superiors this morning.
Great.
In fact, both the auditors have been in contact with us, and Juan's been in contact with these things also.
Yeah. He called the office to get an update, and like I said, I informed him that I was going to be at the meetings this evening, and that we were going to release by next Tuesday. But after talking to the mayor today, our plan is to hopefully release it this week.
This is the property tax has. I just have to do the property tax, you said,
Okay, thank you.
They're the property taxes you received. Was your 2011 levy.
Anyone take that? Well, one good thing is, we were talking about earlier, this is the third audit in just a little over a year that was completed, and we've already started the fourth audit. And like I said, as Betsy said, we're pushing really hard as they provide questions and open issues. Mohan's been working very late hours trying to get the information that they need to get everything turned over. So our goal is, once we get caught up on this last audit, to start preparing for the current audit. And we'll be current to date, the first time in you think about how many years we've been this close to being current. So appreciate all the work that you've done.
The rate we're going, we had doing April 30th of 2014 audit, and everything should be filed at time with the controller. There shouldn't be any more letters or issues with the controller's office.
Over the last year, just a little over a year, we've been playing catch up. So I think we're right at the end of the tunnel, and we're almost there with reaching distance. Any other questions? All right, this will be filed hopefully by the end of the week, and we'll be all current when it comes to that. Thank you. And we're hoping that the next one will be done by the end of the month, give or take 15 days.
Very good. I'm pushing for it. I don't know how hard it is too, and then you guys, and I'm also secretary for our current.
Good. All right, thank you very much, Betsy.
Thank you.
All right, item number 3, transforming neighborhoods. Getting ready. Okay, come over here, Nick.
Do you want me here?
No, right here. Come on up. Just make sure you hold the microphone really close so everybody can hear you. It's not going to yell at you. So, Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me and please for inviting me. I pass these around. Am I speaking loud enough? Sounds like.
No, hold on, closer.
Yeah.
We have a right in the middle. You can really hear it, but when you get in the back room, you can't hear what you're saying.
Okay. So I'll pass around some of the flyers that I've made. Let's see if I have them. Oh, good. Oh, okay. So you have copies of the flyer that was made about transforming neighborhoods. So I am Jay Reddy. I'm Executive Director of the Chicago Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights. And I'm glad to speak with the village board this evening. Thank you very much for having me. As a conclusion about what drives civil rights concerns and inequality in today's day and age, we are pushing a program aimed at inequality by neighborhood and community. I'm a resident of the south suburbs. It didn't take me long to get here. My son played baseball here against Sauk Village teams, and so I'm familiar with the community. And I know that you guys were hit hard by the foreclosure crisis. This is an effort to help rebuild the sense of community and the strength of community by repurposing vacant houses as a place where people who are serving the community in neighborhood-based institutions and nonprofit organizations would move in together into a vacant house and perform a year or two of service. If we can get national service money through AmeriCorps or VISTA, which is Volunteer in Service to America, it's like the Peace Corps. We are endeavoring to do this in a number of Chicago neighborhoods and in the south suburbs, focusing around Harvey and around Chicago Heights, Fort Heights, Sauk Village. And so I've met with Williams and her daughter, the commissioner, a couple of different events looking at how to support community strength and equality in suburbs that have been hit hard by the foreclosure crisis and in communities that have a disproportionate number of vacant houses. And so I just thought I would come today to talk to the board about what we're trying to do. We're still in the process of developing it all. We're looking for house number one and the folks who would move into it. But I think we're very close with the Cook County Land Banking Authority. And I know that there are a number of vacant properties here in the village. And so we'd be glad to work with the village and have this be an area of focus for us if that would please the board.
Do we have any questions while it's coming up for, did I call you attorney or call you Jay? Trustee Burgess. Housing. Yeah, Trustee Burgess.
You have a couple of questions. Trying to obtain these houses that you said that are vacant now, would you actually purchase these homes, or how would you obtain a vacant house?
So we have a nonprofit called Neighborscapes that has operated as a neighborhood strengthening nonprofit for a number of years, including out here in the south suburbs, doing job training and neighborhood development programs with teenagers and young adults. And our proposal would be to have Neighborscapes take title to the properties and then rent them to the young people who would move into them. We don't have the funds to buy, and so we're in discussion with the Cook County Land Bank Authority about having them transfer some of the properties and given properties, including some properties that are ready for occupancy at no cost by banks that just want to get them off their books.
Currently, just so you know, we do have an agreement with South Suburban Energy Managers through the South Suburban Land Bank. So we do work with them currently, which is Russell. Right.
So we've reached out to him about making our presentation there. I can send Debbie the PowerPoint that we showed to the Cook County Land Bank. It'll be similar, but tailored for the south suburbs when we meet with those riders.
Stockville, you currently get reached out to probably at least, 2-3 times a month for houses that the banks are giving away. We do no longer take them. At the beginning of the administration, we were taking houses, but it became a little bit tough for the village and became property owners. So now, whenever I get anything from any of the banks, I'll make it goes to South Florida Marriage Managers, and we work with them, and they've taken how many homes now? Yeah. So that's what we've currently been doing.
And our hope, Commissioner Burgess, is that as time goes, I'm sorry, Trustee, I forget, Commissioner's Trustee Burgess, our hope is that as time goes, we'll be able to build up some reserves so that we could actually purchase and rehab some of the properties. To get started, we're looking for ones that require minimal rehab and minimal expense up front.
Because my next question would be, where would you get the money to rehab? In other words, does that come from your organization? Are you looking for outside funding, or
The outside funding is where we would go, and so our timeline and trajectory for this is that we do believe once we have proof of the model that we will be able to borrow. So the Chicago Community Loan Fund has loans geared toward purchasing rehab of houses like this. The Chicago Rehab Network does the same thing, and we believe that as a nonprofit network pushing this for community safety and civil rights purposes, we make kind of an ideal repurposing use of the properties. The long-term proposal is to have, if some folks move into one of the properties, and that becomes what we call an innovation house under the model that I passed around. We published a piece in the Chicago Tribune. If we get a folks who move into the innovation house, and someone wants to stay, make a commitment to the neighborhood, become a stakeholder and an owner, the idea would then be to transfer the property to them with a small mortgage or soft second mortgage, so that then we can move on and create another innovation house. But the idea is to turn it over to home ownership to someone who's made that commitment to serve the neighborhood.
Okay, so I'm looking at your tree here, and you have a heading that says Neighborhood Host Organization. Are you looking for a organization that's already involved in the village? That's what you're, is that what that
Exactly.
is?
So out here we've had a conversation with Respond Now to think about, do they have staff people who work with their population and might want to live in the area that might be suitable for an innovation house.
Now, how does one go, the criteria, the requirements or whatever, one goes to doing this? I know that they have all type of organizations out there where you get involved and you help build, and then the next house comes and maybe yours. Is this basically what you're talking about?
That's the habitat.
Habitat, right.
With a sweat equity system for people that acquire home ownership. Ours is really premised on people being able to get an AmeriCorps or Vista service fellowship and then come to us to move into the house. And so we're trying to collect those two. And so that's where above in the tree, above the neighborhood host organization, is the AmeriCorps and Vista and Public Allies structure.
What is that?
So AmeriCorps is like the domestic Peace Corps, and Vista is an older version of it. I think Vista was started in 1972 or sometime maybe even a few years earlier in the War on Poverty. And it stands for Volunteers in Service to America. And they have grants through both AmeriCorps and Vista that involve people performing a year of community service. And at the end of that year, they get a stipend toward college scholarship or for repaying student debt. So we're looking to aggregate those grants for AmeriCorps and Vista for people who would be willing to make a commitment to live in these houses and serve the surrounding community.
I just wanted to make sure that, you know, they're going to actually be a stakeholder in the village. They'll be a taxpayer. I don't know what type of criteria that you're going to require for them to belong to the program, but I just wanted to make sure that it's, you said civil rights, so I'm sure it's equal opportunity for everyone to apply for this. And they also, I'm pretty sure they have to have a job, correct?
Well, and the job, ideally the job is serving the neighborhood. So these AmeriCorps participants have a stipend that comes with it. So it'd be like going to Africa and working in the Peace Corps or going to Latin America. getting a Peace Corps stipend and an educational award at the end.
No, I mean, I'm talking about a job as far as after they get the home, they'll be able to afford
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
That's
And
what,
that's years down the road, but I think that's right. And that's the kind of thing where we'd be happy to take direction from the board of trustees on what kind of criteria we want.
right, I mean, quite naturally, you don't want them to move in today and make sure they can afford it or whatever, so those are some of the things, but, you know, I just wanted to, you know, and now what are you actually looking for the village? Are you looking for them to supplement? Are you looking for them to?
I'm here at Debbie's invitation, so.
Well, that's what I meant.
So I would turn it back to you and ask, how can we work together? I suppose maybe the first thing would be, we'd love your support. If we go up before this house for the land bank, we'd love your support around the concept of doing this in the village and having folks who would be making that commitment and becoming stakeholders.
Yeah, because it will help the blight. I mean, there's a lot of blight here, and it would help if we, but we have to, I'm sorry, I keep saying we. I would like to see more than just, you know, fix the homes up, have that person be a viable taxpayer in the village, which is what, go back on the tax rolls, that house, and be part of the community. Not just come and then after a few weeks or 2 weeks, they are able to go out and rent that property out. See, I'm not looking for that. I mean, if they're gonna do this, then they have to have some type of stipulation where they have to stay there for a while.
And that's how we would.
You know, because I don't want them to, because we got a lot of investors,
Yeah, I mentioned.
and I'm not looking for that.
That's right. So we are looking, it would be a sort of lease to own deal where you live here for a couple of years on the innovation house model. The roommates were also doing community-based nonprofits and serving the community. And then when that time is up and someone is chosen to become the owner of the innovation house, there would be an ownership contract that would involve a soft second mortgage. The way soft seconds work is they kick in. So this is all affordability, right? And so it's a lock in affordability. So I can't move out and sell the house at a profit when I got a subsidy in the first place at the market.
That's what I'm saying.
And so we would put in a soft second mortgage with the owner occupancy requirement, because I think we share the village's goal.
Right, because if they don't work out, then your organization can say, okay,
We would have a reversion and we would turn it back into
Right.
the innovation house.
okay, those are questions. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
We did discuss this at land bank.
Can't hear you.
On your question, what their suggestion was saying that we have already in place where they have to live in the property for 5 years and one day to take ownership. They have to stay in that property. If they leave before then, the house reverts back. And I was notified Friday. I don't know if you've been notified yet, but Ida has got funding within the reach program.
Can you explain what IDA is, so they don't like to use?
Ida is basically the Illinois Department of Rehabilitation and Homes. They work to furnish rehab homes, and they are partnered with the Attorney General to finance the tear down of the houses, of which we're in the process of processing 71. And they're very deep in both land banks and with the state attorneys.
So this gentleman here will be working real close to your opinion.
That is a land bank, because we are just advisors to the mayor and the board, where the land bank would actually transfer property, and they have, Wilson, they work on a program, so they have people, that's part of the Cook County land bank.
I see definitely be working more with the land banks, especially since the village is no longer accepting houses. We've been turning everything over to the land banks.
So I think, Mr. Mayor, to that point, our priority would just be to, if we can make something happen here in the village, to let you know that it's happening and keep you all informed and do it in partnership with you. Appreciate
So you
it.
understand, the land bank can't make any use of any property that out there.
So in that respect, I appreciate the opportunity just to let you know that this is something we're interested in doing, and that Sauk Village, along with Fort Heights and Chicago Heights as part of our target interest in the far southeast.
The immediate trustee Washington, question here.
You said that people will be moving into the houses, they will be providing service for the village. What type of service?
Well, so we've divided, there's sort of two ways we get at that question. I'm sorry, it's not automatically simple. The first way I think is fairly simple, which is that we call them community building fellows. We want them to do things that are strengthening the community. And the three basic concepts that we have, we call build, mentor, and grow. So build has to do with like a Habitat for Humanity program or youth build, working on rehabilitating housing and strengthening the build stock in the area. Mentor would be working with children in school to help kids who are falling behind, or in after-school programs, summer camps, that sort of thing. And grow would be with the lived environment, working with street trees or community gardens or vacant lots to beautify the village and to work on the green space.
So that people are making you help provide background checks for children when you get our community center over there.
Yeah, and that sort of lends itself toward the second answer to that question is, rather than impose we're not trying to develop a program where we have people who parachute into a village that's new to them and do these things. I think honestly, our interest would be in canvassing the village to find either recent graduates who are either enrolled in Prairie State or who've recently graduated from college and are in the area, who might be ideal candidates for living in one of these houses and doing this community building work. And then the question would be, are there nonprofits that operate here in the village or that partner with the village? So an example might be at the Jones Center. Maybe they could be a staff extension of the Jones Center, but placed out here in the village, at your community center or at one of the schools. But yes, we would run them through all the standard background checks. And that's one of the functions for the lawyers committee is that we're structured to get volunteer lawyers providing legal services for organizations that are building community. And so we would make sure that all those legal provisions were met so that we had comfort and the confidence that this is going to be something that works and is sustainable.
And then you probably didn't know, because you're the one that's probably putting the business house, and then this person who cannot work at the school, they could work there, like you said, before.
And that's why we think there's three. Some of it is just going to be, some people are good with kids and some people aren't, right? And others may have background issues that make them better suited toward landscaping and green work.
I think you would look at the service of the public. I don't know what you think, a lot of people are looking for young people to live in these houses.
It's a great question. Not exclusively young people. I think for the model to work out economically, we're looking to put 4 to 6 people in the house. And so people who are unattached, who don't have partners or children, fit with the model better. And so I would say we're targeting it toward young people, but we're casting our net wide to say, are there folks who work at nonprofits now that serve the community that would be interested in making a move like this? And we are, as Trustee Burgess said, we're a civil rights organization that promotes fair and equal housing without respect to any of the protected classes under the Fair Housing Act, which include age, familial status, et cetera. And so I think we're open to lots of different people who can work out as residents of the community.
So this is not necessarily a family living in the home, it's more like a boarding home, like a room.
Well, like a roommate situation. I wouldn't call it a boarding home, but yeah, people living together and supporting each other in the concept. Yeah, so we want to have a critical mass. We'd like to get 4 community workers for each one of the houses.
My last question, you mentioned Harvey, Chicago Heights, and Fort Heights. Where are you with them? Is anyone actually completed, or is anyone in the home that you've done a finished product yet?
No, like I said, we're looking for house number 1.
Okay.
And we think we're close, and house number 1 is likely to be in the city of Chicago, which is that's where the land bank authority has provided with a number of prospective houses. And so I think sometime this summer, we'll probably have folks in there, and that's something that we can show you in the presentation.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right.
It's at the bottom of the,
All right, thank you very much. And Trustee Cuddy, do you have anything to say? All right, move to item number 4. South Village Municipal Center EV charging installation. Doug. We met together, how many, about a couple months ago? Or, we met together, what, a couple months ago? Maybe about 2 months ago, about 2 months ago. And I'll let you present to the board what we talked about. And, okay. Contact there.
Keith.
Oh, Keith.
Spell the last name.
Daubkus. And I represent the Green Wheels. We have a line of electric vehicle chargers. We also work with the state of Illinois in purchasing an electric vehicle. We have the state contract to work with the municipalities in purchasing vehicles. So what we're looking to do is to try to get the infrastructure out there for the electric vehicle. There's thing, the chicken and the egg. These vehicles come first, or the charging comes first. People don't want to have a vehicle, there's no charging stations. People don't want to put the charging stations in because there's no vehicles. What we're trying to do is get the infrastructure in. There are grants from the state of Illinois out there currently that they pick up a nice chunk of installation costs. So what we like to do is try to get the familiarity of the municipalities to what it takes to operate an electric vehicle. How do they operate? Just the different stakeholders that will have some kind of input on these vehicles. We have numbers and we can share those with you, but roughly to operate the electric vehicle is almost 1/10 the cost of the gasoline. Right now, we kind of look at about 10,000 miles per year, which is somewhere like 500 or so gallons, about 21 miles per gallon, 500 gallons per year, $4 a gallon. So that's a little over $2,000 a year of gasoline. The electric vehicle, you pay by kilowatt hour. So if you're at 10 cents a kilowatt hour, electric vehicle typically gets about 3 miles per kilowatt hour. So you kind of work that backwards to 10,000 miles, 3,300 kilowatt hours at 0.1 to $333. So you a nice operating cost savings there. And then in addition to bring savings and bring different jobs in, what we like to do is try to fuel those cars from the solar panels, things like that. And that will kind of give you a little bit of a job program. Plus, it keeps that money, that money that you're paying out to the petroleum, the gasoline, that just sort of, stays a little bit at the station, but it kind of goes out. When you kind of keep that money in-house with the electric vehicle, that money gets spent in town. Go to restaurants. They'll have the difference between that $2,000 some dollars versus the $300 some dollars. So they have that money to spend in town. So the money stays more local versus going out. So we see it as kind of a win-win in a number of different locations, but again, we need to get some of the municipalities to sort of step up, sort of put these in, and then whether your own, the actual charging station that we propose would give you 3-4 different billings. So some people could be billed that go in Sauk Village, they might get billed 20 cents a kilowatt hour. So people who live in Sauk Village, could, because you live here, maybe you would get the fuel free one. So there's a lot of different trade-offs that people are doing. We're trying to work with the Ford. Ford has a whole electrification program going, and they're looking for partners. They want to put these fueling stations in around the country. Same with General Motors, they're looking for partners to put these stations in. You buy a Tesla right now, and you go to a Tesla charging station, you don't pay for your fuel. You buy a Tesla, you get your fuel at a Tesla charging station for the life of the car. And we're trying to think, Ford and things like that. You put these charging stations at libraries, schools, park districts, places where people are going to spend a couple hours or so. And so we're just trying to, again, get you familiar with it, see what it takes, how they operate, again, just a cord, they're very, very safe, because we have to plan that it's going to be raining, we're going to be standing in a puddle, pulling the car. So these things have all sorts of safeties in there to, make sure they're safe. We have proposed for Salt Village, it's a single charging station that has 2 plugs. So you can plug the cars in at once, and typically a car takes about 2 hours. It's totally depleted, battery depleted. It takes about 2 hours to charge up without 2 charging stations. So, say with some villages, not so much in Illinois, but in Oregon and other states, the police departments, things like that, municipality vehicles are going to that. And I say just they give you about 100-mile range. And what's nice when you put a charge, right now people charge at home more or less. And so by having a charging station away from the house, a place of work, you more or less double the range of the car. So that car had a 100-mile range, and you had to go somewhere and come back to charge. Now you sort of go somewhere, top off the charge, and so it really increases that flexibility of that car. And again, Ford has the Ford Focus coming. They got a C-Max, they got a van, they got I think their 750 truck is going to be they're going to have the electric version of that. FedEx has a number of electric vehicles out there right now. UPS, P.L.A. is probably one of the more leaders out there. But again, their tractors, electric tractors are big for yards. And if you look at the petroleum cost versus electric costs, it just electric is going to win. The electric vehicles, especially on the tractors, things like that, there's a higher cost. But right now, again, as a clean city, the Clean Cities Fund from the air pollution mitigation, that would pay 80% of the difference. So if we have as an example a tractor that's $60,000 premium for the electric, the Clean Cities Fund picks up $48,000 of that. So it's a nice funding out there. It's an energy security issue. It's a climate change issue. And again, if the village has any kind of goal to lower carbon footprint, the vehicles are probably typically have the largest carbon footprint of businesses and such. So it's a nice win-win for everybody. Again, this cost that not going to see a lot of use at first. But, that's how Grant Park downtown. We started out with a charging station, and now we got 2 charging stations, but there's 3 lots of cars that are kind of fighting for it. So to get people to come to work earlier to get the charging station. So that's where we're at.
When she came and presented this to me, I thought it was interesting. And some of the points that I had written down was people that are getting electric cars, they can't just go down the corner to get gas anymore. So they have to be able to know where these charging stations are. So it will be able to put South Village more or less on a map. On here's a charging station. If you're traveling across country, here's where you can get your car charged, number 1. Number 2, I thought about the location. We looked at here at the Village Hall, and we'll do something like this, having it here at the Village Hall, where we know it's going to take 2 hours. So what does that do? It leaves it where if someone's traveling across country, someone wants to come charge their car, you've got the park out here, you can stop for a picnic, they can walk over to McDonald's, they can go to Walgreens if they have their prescription filled. Again, it brings people in our neighborhood. Again, it's people in South Village. The other thing too was, I think if I remember right, this one has got the movie, or not the screen on the front. It gives us the opportunity to reach out to companies like Ford, and maybe we give them some free advertisement if they help pay for get this installed. You go to a gas station now, what's the first thing you see? You see when you pour your nozzle out at the gas station, you got a little TV up there, and there's all kinds of advertisements. So it gives us a little bit of opportunity to try to do that. But the thing I liked the most about it was the option to be able to have resident versus non-resident charging costs. where if we want to say if you're a village resident and you're friendly to the environment and you have an electric car, you can come get your charge card, your car charge. You know, we can put down how many times a month they can do it. You know, we can set a lower cost for them versus a non-village resident. And it also gives us the opportunity to reserve spots. If you go to Chicago now, you go inside some of these garages, they've got reserved spots where cars are charged at certain times of the day for people going to work and things like that. So it allows us to be able to reserve a spot, hopefully get someone to come in and charge a car. And we talked about a lot of things about what it does. Again, looked at one, you have before you the cost, and again, I'm the first to admit it looks like a lot at first, but if we can get the sponsorship, you know, and Ford is very close. I mean, it's just the next town over. That's one of the ones that we want to look at, asking for some sponsorship to get this installed. But the way these work is, you get your first one, you have 2 parking spots. You can always add on once the first one is right there. But I asked them to come before the board, present it, and looking to you for your input. And I don't know if you have any questions for Keith or Trustee Williams.
I just have a couple questions. You had said it takes about 2 hours for a car charge. If someone didn't have 2 hours, are they able to kind of plug up and use to top off before?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, over at they have them at Walgreens right now, a number of Walgreens. And typically people are at Walgreens, they take 20 minutes.
Right.
So it's, you know, in and out.
Because they have some at Kohl's. In Crete.
Yep.
They have 2 stations. And so you said 2 hours. I'm like, I guess I could spend 2 hours at Kohl's, but I couldn't. So I was wondering if that would be an issue. And then the other thing that you mentioned that I also liked is the citizen versus non-citizen. How does that work?
Well, you have a sweat, you get a car, a little sweat car, and so, again, the city would own the station more or less. And so they would work with the charge point network that's going to put you on a map. So somebody going down Interstate 80 and you're doing a road trip, and they're looking for a charging station, as they kind of come into Illinois here, and they say, I got to charge somewhere, you know, they bring out their app on their iPhone, and their phone, say Salt Valley, there's a part of this, you can kind of add it to it like that. So they come over here, it's a bigger issue sometimes we have with if you talk that you don't need that 2 hours, is people that park there that are going to sit there for 9 hours and kind of take that space up. So that's a little bit more of a problem these days as to how do we need a valet, that person, you're going next time. See, right now, we're not going to park out there, that's a worry. And the way the charging station that we propose, you can kind of, somebody can park there, you can park in a adjacent spot and just use the hose. And we're going to go up about 25 feet.
Okay. So I've seen them at Kohl's, and I've seen them downtown, and,
Right. No, I think we're trying to get them in shopping centers, we're trying to look at places, restaurant, any kind of restaurant, little area that we like to kind of push, put the charging station in, give them $1 of electricity, and they spend $60 on a meal that day. So, again, just to kind of bring people to downtown. So, we try to keep that money low. They will be paying
Trustee Burgess?
First of all, you did say about the people that have the cars, homeowners. Do they have to pay for a charger in their home? In other words, if they have they own a vehicle, electric vehicle, can they just plug it into their house?
Yes, yeah. There's 3 levels of charging typically. At level 1, which is your 120 volt, your household plug. Level 2, what we're proposing here, which is a 230 single phase plug. That goes up to about 32 amps. Your 120 plug goes up to 16 amps or so. And so we go from 16 amps, 32 amps, and level 3 is this fast charger. And that's it's a lot of money, but that's, you might go up to 80 amps on that. And that will charge the car in, 10, 15, 20 minutes or so. So what people have at home, typically they have a 120 plug. And they'll have a special plug for the car. but that would typically take like 6 to 8 hours at that 120 versus at that level 1 versus level 2. So yes, they typically will charge at home, but they say, what a lot of people are doing is they have time rates day. So if you can charge at night, with ComEd, a lot of times at night, the rate's down at 2 cents, 3 cents a kilowatt hour at night. Versus daytime, on time of day, you might be up at 16 cents, 20 cents a kilowatt hour. So if you can kind of, balance that charge at night, let's say typically right now, most municipalities are, a lot of times ComEd gives you different rates on what your electric rates are. But right now, we're saying that, typically they're right now with Illinois about 10 cents a kilowatt hour. So it doesn't really matter the turn of the day or not.
But now, the average car to fill up, can you give me an example how much it would cost the average car to plug in for 2 hours?
Well, right now, the average electric vehicle, like the Ford Focus, the Nissan Leaf, they got about a 24 kilowatt hour battery. So that battery stores 24 kilowatt hours. So 24 kilowatt hours at 10 cents per kilowatt hour, that's $2.40 to charge the battery and totally discharge. So that'd be $2.40 to charge that up. When we look at over the year, we save more like, you drive 10,000 miles, electric vehicle gets like 3 miles per kilowatt hour versus, you're used to 21 miles per gallon. With the electric car, you're at 3 miles per kilowatt hour.
I'm just looking at how much we would have to pay to provide that electricity. That's what, you're saying it charges around $2 or something. What would be our cost? And
that's what you could decide.
Right.
You could have 3 different tiers of pricing, where one tier might be half of another tier. So if you want to say break even, say you have one tier set at 10 cents a kilowatt hour, maybe another tier for people out of state coming down Interstate 80, they're used to paying a higher number when they charge their vehicle. A lot of charging stations are, if gasoline is $4 a gallon, I can price my electricity sort of the equivalent of $4 a gallon. And that might be 40 cents a kilowatt hour, 50 cents a kilowatt. There's places out there, it used to be that you weren't allowed to sell electricity. So the ICC in the last year or so sort of changed that, where you can sell kilowatt hour at a charging station. But when the charging station first came out, you had to rent a parking space. So you rent a parking space for 2 hours, and you pay $2 an hour for the parking space. And now they sort of changed that. Illinois, now you can sell kilowatt hours, and you don't need the utility to do that.
now, who would maintain these stations?
There's a 1-year warranty from Green Wheels to take care of the station for that first year. The network is on a computer, is sort of cloud base. So this charge point network, you would have an account. Somebody within the village would have an account with charge point. And then you would go into your account in the cloud, to say, more or less. And, as people, you give, the little swipe, as you register cars, that this car, this swipe would pay, 10 cents a kilowatt hour. This swipe would pay 20 cents a kilowatt. So you could have certain, the people who live in Sauk Village would be designated by how they're going to get it. It's typically a swipe type thing, or a MasterCard.
No, my question was who would maintain, not who would, in other words, if the station has a malfunction or is not operating properly or doesn't have electricity, who would come out and maintain that? Who would do the maintenance?
Green Wheels would.
Or they would maintain it?
Yes, for that first year.
Okay, after that, who would maintain it?
Then it would just be a contract, with either Green Wheels or.
It would be up to us to maintain it after, it would be up to us to maintain it after that.
Yeah.
Trustee, what you
Can I just get this grants out there with this?
Yes.
What is the realistic goal of the grant?
The way the grant's been going is pretty much everybody who's gone for the grant again, they've changed it a little bit this year in that you have to be Illinois Commerce Commission approved as a charging station installer. Okay, so we do have that designation. But the way the grant has gone, it's been typical for about 2 years now, where it's like about $7,500 for this dual station, or it's $3,500 for a single station. Now, right now, we show that the grant expires on April 17th. The last time when the grant expired, last October of 2013 or so, and the new grant started, they retroactive, the new grant to be from when the old grant ended. And so, to get the April 17th grant, it would be a stretch right now to have this thing installed. It has to be installed. That what you're kind of really looking for is for that next grant to come. And there's what the state of Illinois had done in the past, is they just go back to when the old grant ended, and any stations that are installed between that time and then are eligible for the new grant. But I've heard no problems that, with people trying to, get the grant. A lot of the Prairie State, a lot of the community colleges has been getting those previous grant cycle to remain at the community colleges.
Thank you, Raj. Front page. Front page.
Total cost? Well, the total cost prior to the grant is the $20,000. Well, they say what the people who put these in previously, as the grant expired, when the next grant period opens, they open there every 6 months. It's retroactive to the old grant end. So, we don't, you never know with the state of Illinois, and especially with their financial. But again, what they did in the past, they just went retroactive. So, the installed cost to you is $13,000.
That's after the grant?
That's with the grant, with the grant money. And then, say if you try to go to the Ford or the GM, there's always different partnerships to kind of work. Say there is a little screen on it to do advertising. You can, whether it's some businesses in town or something, just like going up an elevator or at a gas station, you can have a little ESPN or something going on.
Right. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you for presenting it, and then I'll talk to the board, and definitely we'll probably do some talking around and seeing if there's anyone like Ford or McDonald's or something like that wants to advertise on it and see what the end cost is going to be for the village. And,
Because the only thing, the partnership is, again, just to get partners involved and,
right.
McDonald's, the ways to kind of work with McDonald's. It's a little the Taco Bells and the brand, 30,000, so it's very looking, they're looking for a business model. So maybe the business model out there, kind of partner with the municipality, but they're all looking, this is something new, and we're all trying to figure out what is the business model. What we do know is that electricity is cheaper than petroleum, and it kind of alleviates a lot of problems out there.
You can send me a video of what the screen looks like, so when I do go out and reach out to these companies, something I can show them, here's what the screen will look like. If we have your advertisements up there.
Sure.
I appreciate that, help me out.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Move to item number 5, ordinance amending Article 4, local vehicle licenses, and Chapter 74, traffic and vehicle full code for the village of South Village, Illinois, establishing a fleet vehicle license. Trustee Burns.
All right, the question I just come forward is that we was trying to figure a way to get some of these large trucking companies to give us some revenue on village stickers. If each one of our residents has to pay a village sticker price, and some of these large trucking companies around the area, they have multiple. I know one that has about 100 trucks out there, and he doesn't pay a dime. So there's a couple things that they came about of. However, it's this particular thing I do have a couple of concerns with. I have no problem with the if they have over 25 trucks or if you consider a fleet. I have no problem with that. The certification and certificate, you're going to have to go through the Secretary of State to get the exact list of who has it, because I don't think there's any one of our fleets out there is going to openly admit, yeah, I got 100 trucks, yeah. So you're going to have to get pull that, and that's going to be definitely a cost to us. Excuse me. So you're going to have to pay for that cost of that list from the Secretary of State, which in the outcome, that list also is going to help us in other means too. It's going to give you a list of every owner and that has a plate issued to them that lives in the village of South Village. But that's additional, but it's going to be a cost. Then the other thing that I'm looking at is we're going to add a major burden to our village clerk. I'd say 2/3 of this ordinance involves the village clerk, and she's going to indicate she's going to be in charge of keeping the records on people, notifying her all the way down the line to her contacting people. So that's something that we're going to have to take into consideration and look at closely before we go deeper into this thing. The last thing is that the display of the flag, there's a fine that we can charge a fine of for one vehicle once we pass this ordinance, it'll be a fine of $250 if a fleet doesn't register with us or try to bypass us. There again, you're going to have to show proof that they have X amount of vehicles. Now, the other thing is that is positively registered in this town. Like, for instance, roadway trucking used to, and Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, roadway trucking used to say all their stuff was bought and sold through Wisconsin, where the roadway went. And so we couldn't get nothing, and roadway has a couple of trucks over there, but we never able to get one sticker from all those cabs they had sitting over there because they was bought outside. I'm looking at this, that doesn't have too much of a bearing on it, but that is something that we need to run past our attorney. Do they have to be bought in this town, registered this town? If not, then fine, because we have Yellow out there, we have Rotary out there, we have, you name it, we have trucking companies out there. Second thing is the economics of it all. How bad is this going to affect our trucking? I have, let's see, I know there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major warehouse outfits out there that have trucks of their own. So we might want to consider that before you go deeper into this thing. It's a good ordinance, but it's going to cost some work to get involved and to straighten out some stuff here, but it's a start. The main thing is we need a way to come back to the outfits that operate out of South Village to pay a village tax or a truck tax or the vehicle tax on it. They're no different than our residents living in our town. They have to pay a village tax, even though ours is nowhere near what some of the other towns around us is charged. But there again, I just want to bring to the board to make sure you read through this, and there's a couple questions. I don't have answers for all of them. I'm waiting for answer for 2 of them, and when I get them back, I can send an email out to everybody and let them know. The one is if they have and operate the vehicle within the village, the South Village limits, are they required to have a sticker, or does that vehicle has to be purchased and shows on the, what's car license title truck? Truck has the same thing. So we might be drawing straws out of empty hat. So, Jeff, you use these trucks and everything. You used to be a manager of a large terminal. Their place, do they get stickers?
Yes, there was a trucking company that was in Blue Island, and the village of Blue Island required if the trucks were domiciled that they had to have their village stickers. Now, again, I don't know if it was an ordinance like this, but if the trucks were domiciled, the terminology of a domiciled truck is it starts and stops at the same location. So I start in Chicago Heights, I go to Appleton, Wisconsin, I deliver my freight, and I come back, I park the truck, and the next guy comes in, he grabs that truck and he goes on. And basically, if the truck is domiciled, I think that's where the wording is going to have to be in this ordinance. Another way that you could find out is like with ABF, YRC, companies like this, if the corporation might be like in, say, Appleton, Wisconsin, but the trucks are domiciled. If you look at the trucks, they'll have an Illinois power plate. And basically that means that that tractor can haul up to 8,000 pounds. And it's basically registered to the state of Illinois. So that would be another way that you can find out about this. The only other thing I have is like a house count or a house truck. They call them like T.H. Ryan is a carrier for hire. They're based out of Maywood, Illinois. But they have house accounts all over the south suburban area. And, they might have 5 or 6 trucks, say, out here in Sauk Village. Basically, do they have to then abide by that? Well, if it's only 5, then they wouldn't, correct? Because it has to be 25 or more.
Okay. I have a couple of questions in regard to that. We have approximately 3 companies that have trucks in other areas. Winpack has one in Chicago Heights. Bear Paint has a facility in Chicago Heights, and then Jacobson Trucking. But my first question is, has anyone approached these owners or these warehouse managers or whoever it is that purchases the stickers to talk to them and let them know what we're about to do or what we're trying to do, how we're going to present this? Because they can very easily say, well, they just come here and pick up, and then they go back to Chicago Heights, and that's where they spend most of the time. I don't want to run someone away, but I think we should, first of all, at least talk to whoever the terminal manager or whoever's in charge of purchasing the stickers and let them know what we're planning on doing. Because that's going to be a hard, who do we have that's going to monitor the fact that that truck sat there overnight for a given amount of time for that truck to be eligible to purchase a village sticker? Because like I said, those 3 trucking companies have warehouses in Chicago Heights. Now, Warehouse Specialties doesn't. And I think there's another one that doesn't have it. Yeah, they have. Yeah, and they're right. And so they can say, that they're not overnighting them here in the village. I think we need to talk to them and see if they can come up with something. Or we need to increase their sticker purchase price, or make them purchase so many stickers in the village, but maybe we can give them a limit. Okay, if you have 100 trucks, you need at least 50 or something to talk to them. We need to talk to them first before we throw this at them. And I would hate for that. I just hate for us to just do something without at least letting them know first, because they can't say, well, we don't have it, and now we gotta get a lawyer. And my second question is, who is going to monitor these trucks? If we don't, if we do enact this ordinance, who's going to be the person that's going to be out there monitoring the trucks to make sure that they comply?
I think let's make something clear here, because I don't think everyone read the ordinance that you have before you. Okay? First of all, this is not putting village vehicle stickers on trucks. This is a fleet license. This is the owner's responsibility of these businesses that say, I have 25 or more trucks, to come before the village board, or not before the village board, to come to the village and inform us. And there will be a fee set, say, okay, here's your fleet license. It's something that they'll probably keep inside their office, or maybe something that goes inside their glove box. By IDOT standards and other standards, you cannot make these trucks put your village stickers on there. They have a set of stickers that have to go on those trucks, and that's regulated through state and federal. Okay? So what you have is, number one, if they have 25 or more trucks, they have to inform the village. Then, again, if you read further, it talks, it's the owner's responsibility to contact the village. Okay? We're looking at probably 3 or 4 companies currently right now that have fleets. Okay? Some of our smaller companies, I just met with Wayne Steel the other day, they've got 4 trucks. I mean, they don't have a large amount of trucks. So again, setting up a fleet ordinance, and we're going to come back to the board. The board's going to have to say, okay, what's that license or that fee? What is that going to be? Okay. That's not part of this. This is just setting up the ordinance and saying, okay, if you have more than 25 trucks, you're going to have to get a license.
Who's going to monitor that? Who's going to monitor and say that they have to?
It's the owner's responsibility. That's why if something comes down, you look further in here, it says that a company who does not inform the village and does not have the fleet license, they can be fined.
Right.
Up to $250 is it per truck, or
So who would make that call? I mean, I see what you're saying. Who would actually be out there saying, okay, you have 26 trucks, but you can come out here and get a fleet license?
Well, they're registering through the state of Illinois already.
Right.
So that information is readily available. And again, these companies, they're used to this stuff. They're used to fleet licenses. They're used to the fines or the fees and stuff they have to pay. So what ends up happening is if something like this is passed, once you set your fees, the village clerk or from the village, they let them go out to all the businesses, let them know that we have a fleet license requirement now. Here's a copy of the ordinance. And it's your responsibility to make sure you come to the board. I'm not saying board, I'm sorry, board said to come to the village and inform the village.
So you don't want to go out and talk to them?
Well, they'll be a little.
That's what I was going to propose. Let's see if we get the record office, Sherry says, get a letter signed by you and inform them that we're coming up with a fleet ordinance. And it's their responsibility and duty to notify the village that they have X amount.
Again, I think when you send a letter out, number one, you have to have a fleet ordinance in place. There's no sense on contacting someone that we're going to put a fleet ordinance, but the village board is not in favor of it. What happens is you get the fleet ordinance passed first, then we'll send out some information out to the businesses informing them that Sauk Village has passed a fleet ordinance. Between that time, the village board has to come up and say, here's what the fees are. If you have 25 to 50 trucks, here's your fee. If you got 50 to 100 trucks, here's your fee. Again, we contact other municipalities to find out what they're charging. Again, we've talked about this for years, that there's businesses in Sauk Village we have not been able to get village stickers on, which we know we can't because it's state and federal. Okay? But at the same time, their trucks are lodged here overnight. Their trucks are going in and out of Sauk Village, on Sauk Village streets, on our roads, and they're not paying one village sticker at all.
So therefore, I see where you're coming from there. Why don't we just go ahead and contact the state of Illinois and Transportation, get the list and find out how many trucks we have in this town. I know Winpack, I believe they have about 15, 20, but Winpack is making soft village at corporate headquarters, so they have no excuse not to contact us. Warehouse Specialty, they just bought out one huge building over there, 790-some thousand square feet. Well, they haven't, but there's a lot of independents coming there. Trust me, I dive them all day.
Warehouse specialists is mostly railroad. Stuff comes in on rail,
Well,
goes down on trucks.
that's a big change. They made it railroad accessible now. Bear Paint. I know Bear Paint has a fleet of trucks that travel all over the state. Now, that we should definitely try to find out. And then once again, can't find out. The Secretary of State has all the numbers and all the figures. So I would suggest we table this until we get a little more information, either through the police department or through the Secretary of State before we jump into it one more time.
Again, I got no problem tabling, we can table it again. But remember, some of the things we brought before the village board, just like the raising the fines and fees,
Right.
which the village board passed. Some of those fines and fees haven't been raised in over 17 years. A fleet ordinance has never been in Sauk Village. And the amount of trucks that we have going through our community.
It's not free.
It's not something that has to be passed next week, because, once it is passed, then we have to come back for the board and we have to figure out what those fees are going to be for that. So, I would suggest reaching out to other communities, get some information on what other communities are charging. We'll table it for 2 weeks, we'll bring it back for the board. At the same time, find out what other communities are charging for their fleet ordinances, and we'll do the same thing. We'll reach out and find out too, but kind of get an idea. Again, it doesn't have to be passed next week, because this is something that's going to take steps. Any other questions? All right, good. All right, item number 6. Ordinance amending chapter 18, business and business regulations of the municipal code of the Sauk Village, Illinois, establishing an automated rental machine license. This is the one this year we call Red Box. 5 years ago we would have called Blockbuster.
Okay. The reason that I mentioned this and asked to have a separate ordinance in our regular code books and everything, it has other automated machines, $25 or so for a license set. Well, these red box video DVD, they produce quite a bit of revenue for. So currently we have only one, but I also know that there's another business in town that's looking to get one too. And I recommend, Sherry looked into it, she came up with a recommendation of putting a ordinance in place just for the red box machine. However, I don't understand why it's a video DVD automated machine, and they want to put it under a village electrical permit. I kind of wonder, well, sure, it's electricity, but it's 110 volts going into it, and that's about it. No more than any pinball machine or anything. I think it should be under a regular video arcade type machine, or just write it under a separate ordinance as she did here. Then she came across, and we do, it has a proper information, the name of the applicant, where it's going to be at, description of it, and so forth. Sit down there and for 45 minutes one night. On a Friday night, I counted approximately 75 people that came up to that machine and received, and I hope it was a DVD out of it, and they already turned it and stuff like that. So, yes, they are making profit from it, so therefore, if they're making profit, then I think we should put some type of a sticker or something on it for a video machine. And then on the back side, we need, they came up with a penalty for it. And if failure to register the machine or do anything with it, then you can get fined up to $250 on it. And the fee for the machine is $100. That's no more than, yeah, that's it. So,
Any other questions?
I think we should go with it.
We'll put this on consent agenda.
Can we put it on the agenda for next week?
Is everyone okay with it? All right. If you have a problem before Friday, the village clerk will move out this agenda. Thursday. Ordinance amending, number 17, section 1 1-15 of the village code regarding penalties and collections. Just moved it. This is pretty cut and dry. This is where collection agency, they charge us for going after people. We're going to pass that cost right back on to the ones they're going after. So the village is out zero money. It's one of the things that came up that there wasn't an ordinance out there. So this one's pretty cut and dry.
President, not a very full process, I don't think. Yeah, couple of minutes.
Right. So this is if someone has a $100 penalty or a fine, and it costs us $25 through collection agency to get that money, they're going to pay $125. That's just pretty easy. Any questions about this one? All right, consent agenda? All right, thank you. Number 8, ordinance amending chapter 82, zoning planning and development of the zoning ordinance of the Village of Sauk Village, adult use moratorium. This is the ordinance to put a 180-day moratorium, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it had to go before the zoning board. The zoning board made a recommendation for the 180-day moratorium, so now this is an ordinance form for us to pass. Any questions on this one? Consent agenda? You want to have a problem with it? All right, thank you very much. Item number 9, independent inspections, LTD contract renewal. For you, you have independent inspections, LTD. They're the ones that's currently doing our building inspections. They presented a contract, and again, you're going to see it is an increase. They haven't raised their fees in 7 years, if I remember right, without rereading this. So they are raising it for the same period of time. I guess I should have reread this again. I read it's been a couple months. Yeah, so what happened was they sent this in February 21st, and had a little bit of an issue at first, raising it, but checking with Sherry and finding out what they do, and then they came back with, it's been quite a few years since they've raised the rates. It's not a cost to the village. The increase goes right back into the license. So that part is picked up when them buying their licenses and stuff. So, does anyone have any questions about what we have before you?
Mayor,
Yes.
when this contract was originated, did the board, you may be on, I don't know if you know or not, did the board set up a committee to go through the applicants to choose a building inspector or certification or anything? Because there's a lot of things that someone's doing that. And I personally don't know if he has the various requirements and some of the things he's doing. But I think we really should have, if we're going to, if he has his contract, so you had the right to renew the contract. But I would like to just find out and have, see his credentials and certificates and stuff. I know when I was doing it, I had to produce, once a year, I had to produce all my stuff to my board over there. But there again, I'd like to see some of the stuff, but I understand through Sherry that, some of there would be additional activities, coming forth. So I would like to, before I put this out for you to sign it, I'd like to see some of his qualifications, whole resume and some of his certifications.
So what you're asking for is qualifications, certifications, or certificates if they have anything current, and pretty much like a proof of training, because then I'm sure they probably have some type of training.
Yeah, if you produce that, a lot, ICC registered, you're gonna have to, have continued ed training on it.
I would think that this is something they should be able to pull out of a file. So I'll ask for them to provide this information.
Let's see.
Can we, I mean, I know what you're saying, but this particular thing, this is just one person. I mean, we have to go out there and find out anybody.
Well, that's what I asked the mayor. Have you ever did any, send out the bid or anything like that? I don't know how long this done on board, but there, I know there's a lot of people out there. Yeah, probably a lot of people that has some exactly the same type of training. Well, I'm not gonna against the person that I'll say for his resume and certifications. Yeah, well, you can, if we're gonna just keep them for the building trades, the best place to go to is your carpentry hall. They have registered certified people. If you're going to have them doing any plumbing and stuff like that, you go to the plumbing hall. You have to have an Illinois state license to inspect plumbing.
What does this guy, does he go out and do construction?
He's, my understanding, maybe the American, my understanding, he's fully in charge of all new construction. And the code enforcement department is strictly the approval for occupancy. And they do the final inspection of the occupancy. But this, whoever, he does all the, from start to finish on new construction and for major rehab too.
So
I know.
They review them, make any recommendations for any changes. I know Sherry reviews any concerns and drawings also.
Make sure that they follow the code that we have.
Right.
And then also those, new construction, there are different codes you have to abide by. I'm sure he knows, but I just like to say, I don't know the license he has.
Yeah, I've got no problem going out with bid. I really don't. I mean, it's up to the board.
Just like, see, I mean, he could be one of the people that, that could be.
This is one of these things that the way it was set up is just constantly, they're constantly there automatically. In fact, it's one of the reasons before us is because they came back and said they're raising their fees.
Right.
You know, it's one of those things you pretty much take advantage of because you see them coming in, you see her like 2 or 3 days a week, but you don't really think about it.
The reason why we got him is because he was somebody that was qualified to do what he was doing. The person that we had at the time that was doing it, they weren't all with us.
Well, plus the company provides a lot of services. And I remember, I mean, I was on the board when they brought them on. They came back with, right now we have one person doing most of the stuff, but they have other people at this company that work. If something else came across that maybe he wasn't qualified, they sent someone else for that. But again, there's not a whole lot going on. He does a lot of inspections. Can't remember, for
They never come back, sure, they never come back and he did it.
No, in fact, I talked to Sherry before she left today. She said she didn't have a problem. So, okay, Sherry and I talked about going out for bid also, and she said, it's up to the board.
Well, I'd say, you put it on the agenda, but I can't really give it, a vote one way or the other, about safety qualification that by the company or the person. It's good here, but I'd like to see the real thing.
Trustee Morgan.
Thank you, Mayor. I agree with Mr. Burgess. I think we need to put this out to bid. I personally think we should just take it off the agenda, have it go out in a bid pack, and see, who comes back. Correct me if I'm wrong, we did this with the gentleman that does the website, and, we put that out, and he came back with a few dollars cheaper.
Well, we didn't put it out for bids, so pick what you said.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was,
No, it
it
was
was
just.
negotiation.
Someone came to the village and said, hey, I can do a lot more for you, and I said, put something together, they did.
Oh, okay, I apologize. Thank you, Mayor, for correcting me.
No, in fact, that was what, 1, 2 months ago? So he's on a 6-month probation. That's what the board agreed to.
Right.
So he'll be back before this board at the beginning of next month to show us where he's at and what he's doing according to what he said he could do.
Okay, well, again, I agree with Mr. Burgess, so I don't know if we need to get a consent to do that or what.
Trustee Williams.
Is our original agreement already terminated, or is it upon as far as expiring?
They sent me something that was signed by Roger Peckham. I have to pull it back. I don't have it with me.
I'm just concerned because.
This is one of these agreements, I think it automatically continues to go. I have to read it again.
I'm just wondering, because if we go through the process, not that I'm saying that we should, but if we go through the process of going out to bid and things like that, that's, we have to keep in consideration the time factor of that. And if it's going to expire as of April 15th, that's not a whole lot of time to go out for bid. So just something to keep in mind.
Well, page number 2, termination. Either party may terminate this agreement with any reason without cause. Termination of the agreement should be made by sending 30 days written notice to either party of intention to terminate. So I think what end up happening is we want to keep this inspector working during this time. I think we go out for bid. They have the opportunity to put their bid in. Once we figure out what we're going to do, if they're not the lowest bidder, if they're not the company that the board wants to go with, we know that there's going to be at least a minimum of a 30-day time there. We have to send a letter saying our intent to terminate. So that's the way I read it, and we can keep the lawyers when they're here next Tuesday night to look at it to make sure we're doing it right. Anyone else? Trustee Washington.
I agree with and piggyback off of what Trustee Williams said. I also think that has been doing a good job based on all of the things that he's been doing that's listed here. And he's only going up 1.0%. 1.0% for the last 7 years.
I think it's more than that. It's per year. They haven't raised their rates for 7 years. So, right.
I hope you don't misunderstand this, I'm sure, but this is not, we're not trying to get rid of anything. We're asking just to go out for bid. We're not saying that we're going to get rid of him, we should not keep him or whatever. All we're asking is what's out there. Let's go find out what's out there. In the meantime, he can still do the service for the village, but to say that we're not going to keep him or whatever, that's not part of what we're saying. We just want to see who else is out there and also what credentials this person has. That's all.
And they may come back as still being the lowest cost bidder. We don't know that.
I understand based on the time frame that I heard, April 15th.
I was just throwing it out there.
No.
Yeah, I was just throwing it out there. That's not.
Trustee Poskett.
My question on this letter was the last sentence of our last paragraph, the first page, it says that their fees will be increased effective April 1st, 2014. So we're going to be looking at charging fees and maybe changing again if we get a lower bidder, or is that something that this is in effect, it's the same effect of these fees?
Your fees are part of the contract. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
pay him past that, until we find something, that's what we have to pay. As I stated before, you get 30 days to give them a notice to tell them, okay, we don't want your services as of that time.
My question was, were the fees something
Oh,
where
yeah.
the village is established,
Yep.
or is it the fees that they establish, the contract,
Yeah.
whatever the contract is fees, I guess.
Correct.
Trustee Martin.
Now, do we need a consensus to put it out? And then if so, how does it?
I think I have it.
Okay.
It's gonna be tabled.
Oh,
For Rush. The mayor did. That takes a little pressure off you, right? So. And it looks like I have consensus to what we did, so we'll see how we did stuff out. All right, and then I have to look at the So with the contract, once we get,
Right.
once we go through the bidding process, the contract is actually going. All right, any other questions on this one? Oh, wait a minute, it's good, good conversation. All right, move to item number 10, public comment. All comments and questions must be directed to the mayor. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to comment on topics of their choice. Each speaker will be allowed one opportunity to speak. And if you have any questions or comments, please come to the podium.
Hello. Hello, Mayor.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Larry Stewart, Salt Village Housing Commission. I just have a few things that I heard tonight on housing, but what I want to address is there are people that come up here that lean in our ordinances and our laws. We know that we're always here. We abide by them. We're always here. There's some people that come that we actually welcome all the village to come up to our meetings and hear what we're talking about. But we have to put it in a layman's language on what they're asking, what their complaints are, to where I expect the board, the mayor, and the board to answer them to where they understand. And I guess that's about all, because I was listening to some of the complaints that are coming in. I'm going, oh my gosh, I don't have that answer. But the board does, the mayor does, okay? That's it. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you. Anyone else? Questions or comments?
Coach Langston, I want to mention something about the chili cook-off. This is not on that subject. I believe we had a wonderful turnout, and I want to congratulate the judges for a fine job they did. We had Mayor Hanks, Trustee Derek Burgess, and then we had Barb Dorman from Southland Voice. We had two senior participants, Bob Brzett and Heidi Klotz. The only mistake they made was they didn't choose my chili, since I was forced to make a double batch.
You had chili in there?
Yes, I did have chili there.
I'm glad you didn't let us know.
I did not even tell them which one was mine.
We weren't sure how many chili we were going to have. I was asked to make it, and I had to make a double batch, and unfortunately, it was all gone. I didn't have to take it home. That I was thankful of.
Is that right?
I also want to mention the winners, the first prize. You can't hear me?
Okay. The first prize went to Jim Bliss. Second prize to Debbie Morgan. She's the daughter-in-law of Floyd Morgan on our committee. Third prize went to our committee member, wife, Rose Ketchum. I do want to mention that we had a lot of door prizes donated by members. This does not come out from any of our other things. I want to especially thank our volunteers, Sharon Nowak, Heidi Parker, Linda Todd, and Chris Turner And without these extra volunteers, I don't think that we could have worked at all. I know our committee members, Gary Holcomb, Bob Ketchum, Floyd Morgan, Dolores Randall, Bev Ster, and Larry Stewart did an excellent job helping. Unfortunately, one of our members was on a weekend vacation and could not help us. And there were a lot of people that did help us with the setup and cleanup. And I want to thank everybody and all the participants. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah, come up. We're moving along. If you have something, please come forward.
My name is Bernadine Hopkins. I'm a South Village resident. Two things. One of them is regarding the officers that are presently out there now. I'm going to put it like this. I sort of felt comfortable with the way the officers were conducting themselves for a while there. But now it seems as though a sort of like kind of harassment thing is starting to pick up again. And I needed to know, who can I take my complaint to, other versus someone in the police department? Do we have any arbitrary, how would you say it, unbiased groups or something that you can take the issues to? That's number one. The other thing is, I don't understand why when you have these individuals that come up here to speak on excuse me, various things that they want to institute in the village, that they turn their backs to the residents, and we're not allowed to ask them any questions, and it seems as though they're not addressing us. So I don't quite understand that, and I'm wondering if you could do something to remedy that.
Is that it? All right. If you have any complaints or issues with the police department, you can go to the police department. You can fill out for an administrative hearing, and all you have to do is go to the front desk and you can let them know. There's a form you have to fill out, and they'll send it to the hearing officer to hear your complaint. As to the presentations that are presented, the presentations are presented to the board. And again, the audience is out there to hear the presentation at the same time. So,
if you have questions or concerns,
there is questions. If you have questions about it, you can ask the board. If some of the presenters stay over, some of them don't. I sit here and I have perfect sight. I see people that do have questions. They're catching them as they're going out the hallway. So you see a lot of the residents asking questions as they're walking out. But again, we're here to take notes and questions, and when it comes to hearing the presentation, the board is the one who's listening to the presentation, and again, they'll be listening to the village residents when it comes time for a vote. So again, just like as you come to the podium to address, of course, the mayor and the boards are listening, they're listening to the residents. So again, we can probably look at, there's a different setup. We've tried different setups. We've tried on regular board meeting nights about making it so that the department heads are facing the residents, and that we got a good response about that. It seems like the residents can now hear the department heads, and they like that a little bit better. So, we'll kind of take a look at the way we have room set up on committee meeting nights and see if there's something different we can do. But we will look into that.
Officer, do we have a separate entity that deals with officer complaints or police?
There is. If you go, you fill out the complaint form. There's an administrative hearing officer who's not part of the police department. It's an attorney that will come in and hear the complaints. So, all right. Thank you.
My name is Sheila Zinn. I live in South Village. I have a
huge problem. I have been contacting the mayor, the chief, and the sergeant for a week relentlessly, to no avail. I have got no phone call. I got a phone call from the mayor last night at 7:38 p.m. I was not at home. But the reason that I'm here is because my car, I feel it was illegally impounded. I have searched the South Village ordinance, the statute, state of Illinois code, and my vehicle was not supposed to be impounded. I have tried to call. I've been without a vehicle for a week and 2 days. I need my vehicle for my family. That's the only source of transportation that we have. The police pulled my daughter. Well, my daughter, there was an accident right by the school where my daughter opened the door and hit a truck because it was parked in the school zone and it was parked too close to her. The man decided to unload his kid off instead of parking. He unloaded her in the street. That created the incident. My daughter was, the insurance was in the car, but it was, police called the insurance company and had lapsed 12 days prior, but that was not a crime for impounding my car. They put a legal charge on her, aiding and abetting. She was not aiding and abetting anything. And every time I call a police station, I called at least 8 times per day trying to get in contact with the chief or either Sergeant Salisbury. No one has to this date contacted me yet. They're trying to get $500 from me, free dollars for nothing. I don't have $500 to just give for a fraudulent charge that they put on me to collect money. Also, the police had my daughter to drive from the incident where she was parked in front of Wagner School to the police station, asked her to get out, handcuffed her, put her in a jail, and told her he was impounding the car. The man that caused the accident, because he was illegally unloading his child in the school zone and fell apart, he was not ticketed. And I need my car. I need my car, and I don't feel that I should have to pay impoundment fees. Neither should I have to pay $500 for something that it was not impounded for. You all have reasons to impound a vehicle, and A is driving while intoxicated, B is unlawful drugs.
10 seconds.
Unlawful drugs, C is driving without a license, false or altered registration, unlawful firearms, unlawful fireworks, illegal dumping, unlawful attempt to flee, vehicle use in prostitution, or any kind of sound device, driving without with a warrant.
Okay,
None of those things existed.
All right, your time's up. I did return your phone call last time. You left the wrong phone number the other time that you called, so.
I left the wrong phone number for my phone?
Ma'am, this is not a back and forth communication. I allowed you to talk, now I'll respond, and that's it, okay? Number one, I did return your phone call, and I explained to you on the message I left last night, you gave me the wrong phone number. I write down every single message, I listen to every phone number twice to make sure that I'm writing it down correctly. In fact, the second message you sent, you almost gave me the wrong phone number because you started off at 75 and you said no, and you gave me another number. I tried the second number, I was able to get hold of your phone call last
I called you about 20
Ma'am,
times.
this is not a debate. I write down every phone call that I receive, and I keep a log, so I know how many times you call, and I keep track.
How many times did I call?
So I got it down twice.
I only called you twice.
This is going to end our conversation.
But you just said I called you twice. I called you 20 times and left 20 messages.
No, you did not.
I did.
Okay, you're done.
And I didn't almost leave no wrong phone number. I know my phone number.
Man, here's what it is. You've talked to the village attorney today.
I talked to the village attorney today.
And the village attorney informed you.
I talked to the village attorney today.
Let's see. A woman by the name of Sheila Zen called the office and complained about her vehicle was illegally towed. I told her that I did not know anything about the case, but it was a police matter. She could contact the police department regarding an administrative hearing.
I haven't talked to a village attorney today.
So, just that, you've been informed.
I have not talked to a village attorney today.
Ma'am?
I have not talked to a village attorney today. I can't allow you to tell me that. I have not talked to a village attorney today. And where did I talk to them at? They didn't call my house and I didn't call them.
Here's what you can do, ma'am. You can go to the police permit, you can file out for administrative hearing.
Why do I have to go through this when stuff is illegal?
You go for the administrative hearing, ma'am. So,
I'm being further inconvenienced.
all right, that's next.
My question is, when are you all?
Can I have your name, please? I'm sorry.
I'm kind of loud. I'm sure everybody can
I
hear
said,
me.
I'm sorry, your name for the record.
Michelle, I don't want to get your last name, because I don't know your companies, but I am a resident of South Village. My thing is, when are the potholes going to get fixed? I'm driving like a drunk driver and I'm sober. So that's my main thing. I can't get home without hitting the pothole. I can't stop at the stop sign without going into the hole. That's my thing. That's all I'm worried about.
The primary are out filling potholes now. We've also applied for $400,000 in CDGB grant money to repair some of our worst streets. So, hopefully we'll get some of those funds coming in. But if you see Public Works, they're out there. I know for about the last week they've been going through it. Again, we have been hit hard, just like every single community when it comes to potholes. That's probably one of the main discussions when we go to mayors and managers meetings about the roads and how hard they were on all the municipalities this last winter. So, all right.
Good evening, my name is Earl Wilkerson, 22535 Jeffrey. My question is concerning item 4 on the agenda, EV chargers. I'd like to know, are they being considered because of the increase in the number of electrical vehicles in the village, or is this strictly for transit purposes?
Yeah, I think we've looked at a lot of green initiatives for Sauk Village, and we looked at everything from our street lights. We looked at, and this is something else that comes to Sauk Village when it comes to the charging stations. There are some other things that we've looked at where I think there's some things in the works right now with the county about getting lighted signs for the main arteries of Sauk Village that are lit by solar panels, things like that. So, again, I don't know what the numbers are right now. The fact that, again, when you start looking at green and trying to get things out there, again, it's another thing that as a village that we can work on.
My question is, we have so much debris all around Sauk Village. When I drive through Sauk Village, I'm starting to feel like I'm driving home before night. And I just feel like some areas, it should be maintained better, especially like when you're driving onto 304, it just looks like people have party there the night before. And it's very disheartening to see the trash that we have as we drive through the news section. Is there anything being done to maintain these areas on a regular basis? One suggestion I would have is they have a lot of stoplights controlled by the cameras. Is there a way we can put some cameras out to see, maybe take some pictures of these cars that are driving down, obviously, that are tossing their trash out onto our properties, especially in the main thoroughfare areas?
As for the garbage, it has been something we talked about. I talked to Trustee Morton and his beautification committee. He has a date already scheduled for village-wide cleanup, which is Well, he's looking at May 17th, but we're also looking at seeing if there's something we can do during the month of April. Again, we've had a rough winter, and during the winter, everything was snow. And once the snow melted, you saw everything either laying on top of the snow or underneath the snow. So it's one of those things that also Public Works, you know, when they're not filling potholes and taking care of water main breaks, things like that, they're out there also picking stuff up. So we do already have a date for beautification committee. We're looking at seeing some other dates. We're going to be contacting like our Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and see if we can get some of our churches that want to have any volunteers that want to come out and do a cleanup day. And I thought we were looking at closer to the end of April, but like just need to double check on that date. But we'll announce it at the village board meeting, plus we'll make sure it's out on our website, the date for the village light cleanup. We're working with a red light camera company currently, and you might have saw that they had some test equipment out in some of the locations. In fact, the last one we just had was sitting over here at Torrance Avenue and Saw Trail. They have to do their study first, and once they have all the numbers, I think they did a study about a year ago, maybe less than a year ago. The police chief asked them to go back and take another study at some of their intersections because we didn't quite agree with their numbers. So there's some they're going back to and double checking those numbers. And once they have that data, then they're supposed to be coming back. I can't tell you exactly where they're at right now, but we do have, we are working with Red Light Company with the cameras.
I'm glad to hear that, sir. I also would like to ask about children, their clubs. You mentioned Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, but it seems like our children, look at it in warmer, children are just, I hate to use the term, but they're off the chain, if you will. They're not being given any positive things to do. So they're just pretty much loose and doing things they would have. We talked earlier about a lot of the abandoned homes in the areas, and I noticed gangs, I don't want to say gangs, but groups of children leaving abandoned homes, and I think that they should be monitored more closely than they are being monitored, as well as children walking the streets, and they look at you as though we're in the wrong by driving past them. I know that there was an ordinance on those about walking in the streets, and I don't know if it's been enforced, but I don't even see the police staff now like I used to. So I guess there's several different issues, but all centered around one, which are the children, and they're our future. If we don't prevent them from doing the things that they shouldn't be doing now, then we're just going to set them up for jailbait and recidivism and everything else that's not going on.
All right. Is that all your questions? Because usually we let people talk one time and then, okay.
I appreciate it.
The children, I'm going to be honest with the residents. One of the discussions that's been held at Mayor's and Managers is one of the discussions that's been held with the Police Chiefs Association, especially on the south side. We anticipate a bad year this year. And I'll tell you why. It's because the youth have been stoved up in a house all winter. It's been one of the worst winters we've ever had. And when the weather starts changing, they're going to start coming out. Now, what are we doing as a village? Okay, number one, we're going to continue to beef up the police, okay, and try to make sure that we keep a close eye on situations. But as a village, our parks and recs are going to be having programs for the youth throughout the summer. First time we've done it in a long time, having summer events. We're having a summer basketball program. We're looking at trying to get volunteers to come out and get the baseball program up and running. They're having events at the community center at night where they're having game nights where the kids can come play games. And they're looking at having mentoring programs at the community center where if you need help throughout the year on certain subjects and things like that. There's a lot of things as a village we're doing this summer to try to make a location where we can keep the youth off the streets. Okay? Walking the streets, it's not permissible. We have sidewalks, that's what we're supposed to be using. The roads are made for the cars, sidewalks are made for pedestrians. So, but again, think about when you were young. We were all there one time. And think about when we were young, we had bad winters. What did we do when summer came, spring came? We were ready to get out of the house and we were ready to do things. Young people are itching to get out of the house, and they're itching for the nice weather. And sometimes I have to tell people, some people see a group of kids and they think they're a mob. But I tell most people, I say my family could be considered a mob. So these kids are in school all day. They want to get out. They want to have some fun. The thing is, they just need to be pushed off a little bit, not to have your fun in the street, not to block the village residents as they're trying to drive down the street. Fun is not breaking into homes or breaking windows or making it where people can't drive down the street. So we're trying to make sure we have activities. We're trying to make sure we have events this summer for the youth. So, all right, thank you.
For your time and concern.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have 4 questions that I'd like to bring to your attention. My name is Nathan Rippon. I live at 22317 Brookwood. The question is, I'd like to know, is the ordinances, are they being put in force now?
Go ahead, that's one. Go ahead, that's all 4.
Are the ordinances being put in force now? Because I see several things that someone needs to look into.
Go ahead.
Ask all your questions.
Go ahead, ask all your questions.
You have to ask them your questions.
I don't quite understand what you. I'm sorry. The other one, can an ordinance be established pertaining to the 4 ranch owners that has horses using a bag for their horses' waste? That's a health problem. The other one, we have a truant officer, and do we have an ordinance pertaining to the children playing in the street and walking in the street?
All right. Is that all your question? Yes. Okay. Ordinances are enforced, and it's up to the officers to enforce them. I think how to word this. I mean, something may be happening over here. If a police officer is heading to a scene or somewhere, he doesn't have time to stop and enforce an ordinance over here if he's going to a domestic or if he's going to a fight or something. So ordinances are being enforced, tickets are being written. Police officers are out there every day. You talk about ordinance being established about the horses and catching the manure and things like that. South Village has an ordinance that they're not supposed to be riding horses and stuff through the streets. So I know that I have received a couple complaints over by you because what they're doing is they're coming down Torrance Avenue and then they're coming up Burnham and coming up 223rd Street. What I would encourage you to do is if you see something like that, maybe call the police department, let them know that there's someone riding horses down 223rd Street because they're not supposed to be. And again, a lot of that may be because, number one, they're not village residents, or someone that lives out in unincorporated Cook, or it's someone who brought their horse trailer over to the Forest Preserve out there on Burnham Avenue and unloaded their horses and they're taking them off for a ride. So again, they're not village residents riding in Sauk Village, they're non-village residents, and there is an ordinance on the books about that. They're not supposed to be riding the horses in town. The truants officer, Sauk Village does not have a truants officer. What we do is we look to the state and county. I'm looking at Ed. Is it, I can't remember if it's the state or county. Juvenile? That's through like Bloom Trail. Yeah, so we don't have truants officers, we have juvenile. And we get those mostly from like Moon Trail through the schools, okay? And then the last one about the kids playing, walking the streets, there's ordinances about that. They're supposed to be using sidewalks. They're not supposed to be playing and walking the streets. So, and again, I know where a lot of people say, you know, I've got kids walking the street and I see a police officer right past them. I think sometimes we have to remember a kid walking in the street at the time that police officer goes past them may not be important as where they're heading. The end destination. The end destination could be, like I said, domestic. It could be someone hurt. They could be going to an accident. Again, I've talked to the chief, and what they do is, by the time they get done with that scene, you may see them circle back around, but we all know by that time the kids are already gone, they moved on, and they're somewhere else. So, but again, it's going to be something that we're going to have to make sure we focus on this year. So, thank you.
How's everybody doing in the committee? I don't know if this is a committee, I don't know if this is a meeting here. My name is Arthur Johnson. I'm a film student at Fletcher University in California. Zen is a friend of mine. I came down here and just off the train today. She told me where she had an incident where her vehicle parallel parked against the curb, another vehicle parallel parks against her down the street. Her daughter opens the door and hits the guy's car. Usually in that manner, it seems like to me, if something like that happens, both parties get a ticket if they go to court. But in this manner, it seems like one person is being a victim here, where their car is being seized, where their family can't get around, can't get anywhere, where she had to get a ride up here when I rode with her and her friend. And it seems like it's all they're trying to do is just come down to, you know, just some truth here to find out what's actually going on, but nothing's being said or done about it. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it seems like if a person is in the wrong, I always thought in California, if you don't have insurance, they give you a ticket, you go to court, the judge gives you time, a lot of people go out and get some more insurance, they come back in and pay their fine, everybody's happy, everybody's gone. But in this case here, it seems like the person is being a victim, they don't have their car, they're calling to try to find out what's going on. They can't come to any solutions. They're making phone calls, as you said. She called you. She gave you the wrong number. It's not a point of having the wrong number, but you call back. They're just trying to find out what can I do to get my vehicle back to take care of my family so I can get around. You know, they can't get to the store. How are they going to get to the store? You know, I mean, there's got to be some kind of minimum here. You can't just go to a police station and fill out a little application, whatever they do. I mean, isn't there a court process that handles this kind of stuff here? I don't know. I'm not from it. But I came here, I just got here today because I mean, it was distraught. Oh, man, they took my car. Oh, man, they locked my daughter up in jail. What is she going to jail for? Both parties should have went to jail. The other guy that hit their car should have been getting the ticket also. You can't give one person a ticket and not find out the solution of what happened. You know, you're listening to hearsay, but yet you're holding somebody else's car hostage. And yet this other person's able to do what they want to do, but you're holding somebody else that probably can't afford to do anything. You know, I just don't understand the merit. So all they're trying to find out is what the solution they can do to get this matter resolved. And that's what I've heard since I listened to them when they're trying to talk. Now what you're listening to is a distraught person trying to come down with some solutions. You guys are going back and forth and you're putting her on the clock. Everybody else wasn't on the clock. Can't put one person on the clock when everybody else was on the clock. I don't think. Okay. But I appreciate you.
Mr. Johnson, everyone, number one, everyone is on the clock. You have, like I read at the beginning, you have 3 minutes to speak on any subject you want. And you're allowed one opportunity to speak. The process is in place. The process is you go to the police department, you fill out for an administrative hearing. They have, and don't quote me on this, but there's a period of time, and I'm thinking 24, 48 hours or something like that, to go before that hearing officer to review what's going on. No one up here on this board, including myself, knows any of the facts We haven't talked to the police chief, we haven't talked to the police officers. We have no idea what happened, why the individual was arrested, why the car was impounded. There's nothing that none of us sitting up here can do for you.
Right.
Okay? And again, I understand about, I don't like using the word distraught, but I can understand not having a car, and I can understand about needing a vehicle. Okay? But there's a process that has to be followed, and we try to explain that process. No one on this board sits on that hearing, the administrative hearing. It's an attorney. The attorney will listen to both facts, both from Ms. Zen. They'll listen to the facts from the police officers. They'll take a look at everything, and they'll make a ruling. Okay? We have that process in place, and there's a reason for that. And for incidents like this, where someone feels like something was they were done wrong, they bring someone in from the outside to review the case and make a decision. So I don't want to seem like I'm hard-hearted, and I don't want to seem that the board's not listening, because the board is listening, but at the same time, there's nothing that this board can do to change the decision, and there's nothing the board can do to get that car. There's a process that has to be followed. You know, and all I can do is encourage that Ms. Zen follow that process.
And that was the message you left on the phone.
No. And again, this isn't a debate, your time's already up, but I will say this. No, I will say this. The message I received from Ms. Zen was there was a police matter she wanted to talk to me about. I had no idea what the police matter was. Okay, until I received the email from the village attorney today at 3:40 p.m. Okay? I returned the call stating, that I was returning her call. I left my phone number, explaining why I didn't get back to her sooner because I had the wrong phone number. It wasn't until I received this email this afternoon that I knew the problem was. All right?
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Is there any other questions or comments? All right, hearing none, we'll move to miscellaneous business. Comments from the trustee.
I just had a couple of things. One of the things is I wanted to reference the potholes because I've actually gotten a couple different phone calls and emails lately about the potholes, and I've tried to explain, and just for everybody to understand, we've talked about, the mayor has talked about the fact that the mayor has talked about the fact that we've had very cold winters, and if you take, for example, of yesterday was close to 60, 65 degrees. Today is a little bit colder. When you have that cold, hot, and then you have the wet with the dry, it's going to break down your streets. That's just what's going to happen. So for as a village, fiscally speaking, it's not the greatest idea to fill the potholes when it's going to happen again. So we're trying to, according to the people that I've talked to, Public Works, we're trying to wait for there's a consistent amount of weather to make sure that once they're filled, they're going to stay filled. Because when you fill it and then it gets bigger, and then you fill it again and then it gets bigger, it actually does more harm than good. So that's what I was told, that's what I've been telling people, so I wanted to kind of give a little bit more for that. And then as far as Student Government Day was last week. Student Government Day went very, very well. And I just wanted to say thank you to all of the volunteers, thank you to all the department heads, the elected officials, all of our service providers. Everybody did an excellent job. We were a little scrambled at the beginning. For the first time ever, we had 4 kids not show up for Student Government Day. And we had to change some people around, and it was kind of problematic at the beginning, but we got through it. The kids really enjoyed themselves, and I was really happy that, especially with the police department, which I plan on contacting the chief and sending a letter, they were very present. We are used to having the chief and maybe the sergeant accompany us and drive around with the kids. This time, we actually had Sergeant Salisbury and we had Officer Frederickson. And I think that having an actual patrolman was, especially since he's our K-9 officer, the kids were just enthralled by him. He was younger guy that they could relate to. They were talking to him. He was great with them. And I was really happy that on Thursday, after we took it out of school again and did the whole activities, they actually arranged with the school to have Balco come to the school and meet with the kids and work with them there. And I thought that was really great. So I just want to again say thank you to everybody. Thank you for all of our sponsors. Again, we haven't been able to do sort of government day like we used to do when I was first elected, but we have kept it going through the help of our volunteers and our sponsors, without of which none of this would be ever happening. So thank you.
Trustee Burgess?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the senior committee for allowing me to be a judge. It was a very great experience. I'll say that to the least. I did have fun. I didn't know that Judge Shelley was there though, so had I known that, like the man said, we would have been a little different, but we didn't know. Because this way we kind of know some of them was great, some of them weren't so good. But anyway, I do want to, Mayor, if you allow me to, I would like to talk to that family probably after the meeting is over with, because basically all she wants is an answer. If she's not getting anything from the police department, and they're not giving her any explanation, she's due that much at least, you know, if her car is impounded. I know we can't do anything other than try to provide her with an answer if she's not getting any answers from them. Right. So I would probably like to, if it's all possible, talk to her. I guess her name is Ms. Zen after the meeting, and maybe we can find out what's going on, why she's not getting her answer. Because she needs to at least know what's going on, because she has kids, she has a car, she has to get back and forth. I hate to see anyone without a car for any just cause if that's the case, but we don't know what's going on. And thirdly, this coming Thursday, we will have a intergovernmental relationship committee meeting here at 7 o'clock. We're planning an event, so I would like to meet here if we can get all the people that are on that committee to be here at 7 o'clock. And that concludes. Thank you.
Trustee, you're right. There's nothing that we as a board can do. If you want to talk to her, find out what the problem is. Remember, number one, there's two sides to every story. And the only one that can make a decision is the administrative hearing officer. So she has been told multiple times on exactly what she has to do. For some reason, she does not want to follow the process. So again, you can hear again, she feels that she was done wrong, but again, there's nothing this board can do, and there's nothing that this board should do to get in the middle of this. This is a police matter that has to go before the before the administrative hearing officer. So I wouldn't encourage any trustee to get in the middle of this situation, because they will go before an attorney who will make a decision. So, and again, I received an email today at 3:40 informing that she had talked to the attorneys. She called their office. And believe me, I don't think the attorneys have ESP to know that she's going to attend and what the problem was. So the attorneys talked to someone about the situation and informed someone of what had to be done. So it's where it came up that, again, if someone came before me tonight and I didn't already know about it at 3 o'clock this afternoon, I would say, perhaps she hasn't been talked to anyone. And I have returned calls after I get the right number. So, Trustee Bosky.
First of all, I'd like to say congratulations for a well-run government day. All the volunteers, everything did a great job, and congratulations for that. I'd also like to say congratulations to the South Village Bulls for the winner of the tournament this last Saturday.
The Bulls?
The Bulls, yeah, the Bulls. They ended up winning, and it was a great time. A lot of people attended over there, and it was very successful. Our banquet and trophy presentation will be this Saturday at the community center. The plan and the Parks and Recs are working on the Easter egg hunt, which will be April 19th at 1 o'clock at the community center. So that's open to all the residents. We are also looking to have our summer basketball program. We have sign-ups ready, will be going on this entire month, along with cheerleading. We're also working on a volleyball program, we're looking at a volleyball game. We are also looking at new programs, which the mayor mentioned a little bit about, mentors and tutoring. That's in the works, and I'm also having in the works a dance program for girls that has been presented to me. So we have a lot of activities coming up, and I'm going to need some help with some of it, so I need all the volunteers, and trying to start the South Village Sports Association. We're looking for people who would be interested in restarting that program, trying to get baseball going. But that's a major project. It needs at least 5 people to work on that work. So if you have some time, we'd like to do that. Please come on out. Our next Parks and Rec meeting will be Thursday, April 10th at 6 o'clock. I had to move it for personal reasons. My wife said I had to. Set about missing the 38th anniversary of the huh? Yeah. So put me in a little hot water. And also this Friday at the community center at 6 o'clock, we have our game night. This is a family game night. We'll have some light refreshments there, some P.L.A.N or Gatorade, stuff like that. You're all welcome to come on out, bring your game, bring your family, bring your friends. It's a good chance for everybody to get to meet and talk and just get to know one another. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Trustee Martin.
Thank you, Mayor, Board. I want to talk about, there was a young lady that came here and spoke about the trash. Along Illinois 394 is a state jurisdiction, so they have to basically attend to that. That's not a village issue. As the chair of the beautification committee, I always tell people, and I've already seen it. I've seen people out there along 223rd. I've seen a guy out there with a garbage can, and he was walking up and down along 223rd just picking trash up. Ladies and gentlemen, there doesn't have to be an event to care about your community. If you have the time, go out there. Look around, pick up trash if you want to. I mean, no one's telling anybody to do anything, but if you have pride in yourself and pride in your community, grab a can, pick it up. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Trustee Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say a few things. First of all, I think Ms. Hopkins is still back there, and Ms. Zen left. I echo Trustee Burgess in the fact that residents do have the right to be intelligently articulated to in regard to their sentiments about whatever they're feeling that they go to the police department. Both of these residents did contact, they said several elected officials after they were not satisfied, after they contacted the police station. They tried to reach the chief, they tried to talk to somebody about what was going on. At the point of the conversation, when I talked to Ms. Zen, she said that her daughter had called and said that she needed her mother to come to the police station and get her out. When her mother called back to the police station, they told her that her daughter wasn't there. As a mother myself, if my child is calling and saying, come and get me from a police station, and I call back and you say, you don't have my child, then my child called back and like, Mom, where are you? They say, you're not there. Let me talk to the officer. She said, when she talked to the officer told her, you just get $500 and come here if you want to get your child in the car or something like that. She's walked out, so she's not here for this part of it. But I have had enough conversations with residents to know that I think that there needs to be some kind of communication between the police department and the residents, especially when you go over there, if you call them to talk to them. Now, me being a new trustee, I did reach out to some other trustees to find out what could be done or how that should be handled. If you're constantly going or calling to the police station looking for your loved one and they're not there, or they're not there, then when she called back, they told her, oh, well, yeah, your child is here, but they weren't in the system yet. You know, it's just a breakdown in communication, but I feel that overall, this hospital, like I said, is still here. If an officer stops you anywhere, it's, you know, you always hear when you're going up about officer friendly, officer friendly. They should maintain a certain level of courtesy, hospitality, I feel, and friendliness, although they're doing their job. Nobody has to be rude. I don't care what your job is. And I have personally talked to people that want to come here. And so I'm glad to hear you say, Mayor, that we can't do nothing about it. So then that means that I need to stop telling residents to come here on Tuesdays and let us know what they're feeling. I don't know if the right word is we're not the police department's boss. We're not their supervisors, but we can hear what's going on with the police department. If residents can't come here and have a venue to express what they're feeling, I need to know, because clearly they're not getting it when they go over there. So where else can they go? That's one question that I need answered, because I need to know that. Should I keep going to the end? Okay. Also, yes, I also want to say that when people's feelings are hurt, and you're just trying to get information, if other people are not sensitive to you, it just enrages you. And so I'm a kind of person, I like to put fires out if I can. If I can stop something right there, that's what I would like to do. So I think that maybe I need some clarity on what to tell residents if they go to, not just the police department, if they would go to the fire department, or if they would go to any other entity. I know we have nothing to do with the library or the school board, but the ones that we do, public works, the fire department, the police department, they're not satisfied. Can we not direct them to come here and talk to the mayor or to talk to the board to let us just at least be aware of what's going on? Not that we can do anything, but we are a sounding board since we were elected by the people to serve the people, for the people. And I just have 3 announcements. The Human Relations Commission will be meeting here on Monday at 7:00 p.m. That's the first one. We want to invite all the residents out to the Human Relations Commission. We are currently working on a workshop that's a backup to the diversity dinner that we had. We want you all to come out and give us some input on that. And the Neighborhood Watch program has moved to the second Monday of every month, and that's at the fire station. And we are currently working on a video for Sauk Village, and we are just so excited about it. We're going to be shooting it off that song by Pharrell Williams entitled Happy. And right now we have 15 segments of people. We have even made up a Sauk Village line dance. So we're having a lot of fun with this, and it's bringing families out. The mayor said that he wanted more families to come out. He wanted more families to do barbecues over here in the park. He wanted to get people out of the house and engaging with one another. And the Neighborhood Watch, we're trying to piggyback off of that on the mayor's agenda to by doing this video village-wide, and everybody's getting involved. I tell you, it's just a phenomenal thing. It's going to be a lot of fun to do. And that concludes my report.
Trustee Maris?
Just a couple items. First of all, Rosie, it was dynamite last week. There was some of the I knew I missed, and the past the department head being up there with the student. That's what it's all about. The students today is going to be our leaders tomorrow, and it's fantastic. And the other thing about potholes, I know but everybody's got to remember we have miles and miles of streets that we're under. You want to get repairs and repaved and everything. I personally blew a tire on one on 221st, but you know it's going to happen. Where the guys, I did see him out there last week. Matter of fact, it was patching from Jeffrey down to, I believe it's Merrill Avenue off at the 21st. Apologize for the potholes, but after whatever we had, the snow plowing and the chemicals and everything else we put on, you're going to get potholes. Once again, just keep it back in mind. We're going to have an awful lot of those roads repaired this summer and so forth. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee. I just want to echo, last Tuesday was a great night. The kids did a fantastic job. I think the parents, the family members, the teachers, everyone were here and proudly supported them. And I already talked to Superintendent Trevini. Thank you for him and the board coming out. I think it's a great partnership between District 168 and Sauk Village. So I'd like to thank you all. Thank you to the Public Relations Committee for a great job, for all the volunteers that came out. And I guess the most important, go to the family members, the parents, and the ones who are there to support them as they grow up. So again, our future leaders. I always remember Trustee Siri was a trustee who, when she was younger, sat through a student. So she became a trustee later in years. So you never know. You may be sitting here a few years from now and see one of those young people that were sitting up here last Tuesday night as your trustee, so, or mayor, or village clerk. So, great job. Thank you very much. Chili cook-off, Rose had a great time, and I didn't get as sick as I thought I was going to, so that's always a good sign too. So, I have to say though, by the time I had my little taste of every single chili, I was definitely full, and I'm done with chili for probably a good 6 months at least. So, thank you very much. It's been brought to my attention, we've got the P.L.A.N. and Parks and Rec is doing an Easter egg hunt this year. The P.L.A.N. is collecting money to help to put off some of the costs. So if you're looking for a good cause, the P.L.A.N., you see Mayor Judy sitting here, there's probably some other P.L.A.N. members out in the audience. If you want to give toward the Easter egg hunt, it's one thing that I would say that I definitely support because it goes back to our youth. And it's a great time for them. So, in fact, on that day, I think there's multiple ways Easter egg hunts. So, you can start on probably one side of the village and work your way out to the end. So those kids can go home with lots of candy. To make sure it's your kids and your grandkids, so they can be bouncing off the walls and not have to worry about it. So, again, I'd like to thank the P.L.A.N. personally for getting involved. They've been very supportive of the Easter egg hunt every year. So I was talking to Judy last Tuesday, talked about some of the events on that day. So it sounds like it's going to be a Sunday. So I'd like to thank you and everyone that's on that board. Again, I hear the trustees, I hear the residents. You know, I encourage the residents to come out and talk to the board, let us know what's going on. But I don't want to sound mean or hard, but there's certain things that we cannot do. And when it comes to a police matter, that's why the village board set up many years ago an administrative hearing, an attorney to sit over the situation, hear both sides, and make a decision. So, as a mayor, I want to hear what's going on, okay? Because I'm going to talk to department heads. I talked to the police chief, and without saying I want to know what's going on, I want his house in order. Okay, I'm going to talk to the public works director to say where are we at on potholes, when are they going to be filled, what do we expect, where are we on getting our grant money so we can start repairing streets. So again, I take these notes and it's part of my department head meetings. Okay. But you, at the same time, as an elected official, you don't give someone a false hope and say, hey, I'll take care of that. Because we can't. Okay? So, yeah, I don't like sounding that I don't care about a situation. I will take the information and I will take it a step further. But at the same time, it's not my job to influence what the outcome of an administrative hearing. It's not my job to influence either side. My job is to make sure that the information is there to lead the person to the where it has to be done, what paperwork has to be filled out, and take it from there. So I encourage residents to still come out, talk to your trustees, talk to the mayor. Let us know what's going on, because we will take that information back and forth. So with that said, congratulations to the Sauk Village Bulls, and looking forward to this Saturday. And I think that's all I have. So with that, I ask for a motion to adjourn. Motion and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.